Om Shanti. This is the Sakar Murli of 10th of January 2024. Essence. Sweet children, if you remember Alpha and Beta, the Father and the inheritance, your mercury of happiness will remain high. This is an easy matter of just a second. Question: which children have limitless happiness? What is the way to keep your mercury of happiness constantly high? Answer: the children who practice being bodiless, those who imbibe very well whatever the Father tells them, and who inspire others to imbibe it, experience limitless happiness. In order for your mercury of happiness to remain constantly high, continue to donate the imperishable jewels of knowledge. Bring benefit to many others. Always have the awareness that you are now going to the peak of happiness and peace, and you will then remain happy. Om Shanti. Bap Dada has the thought that he should have you children write down in a second whose remembrance you are sitting in. It doesn't take time to write this down. Each one of you can write it in a second and come and show it to Baba. Brackets, everyone wrote it and showed it to Baba. Then Baba also wrote it down. No one had written what Baba wrote. Baba wrote Alpha and Beta. It is so easy. Alpha means Baba and Beta means the kingdom. Baba is teaching you and you are attaining your kingdom. There is no need to write anything more. You took more than 2 minutes to write this. To write Alpha and Beta is a matter of second. Sannyasis only remember Alpha. You also remember your sovereignty. You have to instill the habit of remembrance. When this sits in your intellects, your mercury of happiness remains high. The meaning of Alpha is that he is the highest peak. There is nothing higher than that. The place of residence is also the highest of all. No one knows the meaning of liberation or liberation in life in a second. That too must definitely have a meaning. When a child is born, they write he was born at this hour, minute and second. The hand continues to tick away. In one tick you can say Alpha and Beta. It doesn't even take a second. There is even no need to say it. You remember it anyway. You children should have a very good stage. However, that can only happen when you have remembrance. While sitting here, you should remember the Father and the kingdom. When your intellect sees, it is called divine insight. The soul also sees. It is the soul that must be remembering the Father. When you remember the Father, you also remember the kingdom at the same time. How long does it take? Here, when you sit in remembrance, you would be overjoyed. Baba too is sitting here in this happiness. The Father doesn't remember anything of here. Baba remembers the things of there, brackets the new world. It is as though Baba and the kingdom are standing on your doorstep. The Father says, I have brought the kingdom for you children. It is just that you don't have remembrance and this is why your happiness doesn't remain. While sitting and moving around, consider yourselves to be souls and remember me, your Father, and your inheritance. The place where you reside is so high. The world doesn't know this. People beat their heads so much in order to go into liberation. However, where is the land of liberation? You understand that each soul is a rocket. Those people go to the moon, but then after that, there is just space. You go even beyond that space. The moon exists in this world. It is said beyond the sun and moon, even beyond sound. You have to shade your bodies. You come here from the sweet silence home. It doesn't take time to come and go. That is your home. Here, wherever you go, it takes time. When a soul shades his body, he goes so far away in a second. A soul shades one body and goes and enters another one. So you have to consider yourselves to be souls. You are going to the very highest peak. People want peace. The highest peak of peace is the incorporeal world, and the highest peak of happiness is heaven. The highest on high is called a tower. Your home is also so high. People of the world never think about these things. There is no one to explain these things to them. That is called the Tower of Peace. People continue to say that there should be peace in the world, but they don't know the meaning of it. That is, where there is peace. Lakshmi and Narayan exist in the Tower of Happiness. There is no greed or temptation there. Their food, drink, and way of speaking, etc., are all very royal, and they experience the highest happiness. Look how much they are praised by having made a lot of effort. They are not the only ones. A whole rosary was created. In fact, 9 jewels are remembered. Surely they must have made incognito effort. Only when you remember the Father and the inheritance will your sins be absolved. However, Maya doesn't allow you to stay in remembrance. Sometimes lust and sometimes anger bring so many storms. You have to feel your own pulse. Narad was told to look at his face in a mirror. So you don't have that stage now. It has to be created. Baba would definitely show you your aim and objective. Continue to make effort internally. As you make further progress, you will have that stage. You have to practice being bodiless. You now have to return home. Baba said, remember me. If you don't remember me, there will have to be a lot of punishment and your status will also be reduced. These matters are very subtle. Those people go so deep into science. Look at what they continue to create. Those sanskars are also needed so that they can go there and create those things. It is just that this world has to change. They will all go from here and take birth according to their sanskars of the present time. The intellects of those who fight in an army have the sanskars of battling. So they carry those sanskars with them. They cannot stay without fighting. An officer would always have a queue in front of him. At the time of registering everyone, they check that they don't have any illness. They check that their eyes, ears, etc. all function well. They have to function well to be in army. Here too it is seen which ones will become the beads of the rosary of victory. You have to make effort and attain your karmatit stage. Souls came here bodiless and have to return home bodiless. There is no relationship with bodies there. You now have to become bodiless. Souls come from there and enter bodies here. So many souls continue to come. Each one of you has received your own part. New pure souls definitely receive happiness at first. This is why they are praised. The tree is big. There are so many very well known people. All of you will be in a lot of happiness according to your own strength. So, you children now have to make a lot of effort. You have to become pure and go back in your karmatit stage. You have to examine your own behavior. Do I cause anyone sorrow? The Father is so sweet. He is the most beloved. So, you children have to become the same. You children know that the Father is here. People don't know that the Father is carrying out establishment here. Nevertheless, they continue to remember Him for birth after birth. They go to a Shiva temple and worship Him so much. They go to such a high peak to the temple of Badrinath, etc. There are so many melas that take place, brackets in His name, because He is very sweet. They sing God is the highest on high. They would only keep the incorporeal one in their intellects. There is always the incorporeal one, and then there are Brahma, Vishnu and Shankar. They cannot be called God. You children now understand that you too were Satopradhan deities. When you were the masters of the world, there weren't so many human beings. Their kingdom will just be in Bharat. All the rest will go away to the land of peace. You continue to observe all of this. A very broad and unlimited intellect is needed for this. There, you won't need to go to the mountains. There will be no accidents, etc. there. That is the wonder of heaven. When it is not the wonder of heaven, it becomes the wonder of Maya. People of the world cannot understand these things. You are now making effort to go to heaven. That is the tower of happiness, whereas this is the tower of sorrow. So many people are dying in war every day, and so they must also be taking birth somewhere. It is remembered you cannot reach the end of God. God is just a point. What end could you reach? The Father says, no one knows the beginning, middle or end of this creation. Sages and holy men cannot reach the end of the Creator or creation. The Father is teaching you. This is called a study. Only you children now come to know the secrets of the world cycle. Those people say we do not know, or they speak of hundreds of thousands of years. The Father has explained that everything you see now will not exist there. Heaven is the tower of happiness, whereas here there is nothing but sorrow. Death will come suddenly in such a way that everyone will die. To witness death is not like going to your auntie's home. This is called the peak of sorrow, and that is called the peak of happiness. There is no other word. Among you too, there are many who listen to this but are unable to imbibe it. You can only imbibe this when your intellects become golden aged. If you do not imbibe it, you cannot experience happiness. There are those who study at the highest level, and there are also those who study at the lowest level. There is a difference in how they study. No matter how much the Unlimited Father explains to them, they would never understand. You will never be able to become pure without having remembrance. The Father Himself is like a magnet. He is the one with the highest power. He can never become rusty. All others are covered in rust. You have to remove that and become Satopradhan once again. The Father says, constantly remember me alone. Let there be no attachment to anyone else. Wealthy ones keep seeing their wealth in front of them throughout the day. The poor don't have anything, but if they are sensible, they can imbibe. How can the rubbish be removed without having remembrance? How can we become pure? You have come here to go to the highest peak. You know that by following the Father's teachings, you will go to the highest peak of happiness. This requires effort. The Father comes here to take to you to the tower, so you have to follow Srimad. Lakshmi and Narayan are remembered as number one. They would be in the highest tower and others would be lower than them. Only the new world is called the Tower of Happiness. There is nothing dirty there. There is no such dust or air which would spoil the buildings there as there is here. There is a lot of praise of heaven. You have to make effort for that. Lakshmi and Narayan are so high. As soon as you see them, your hearts become happy. As you make further progress, many will continue to have visions. There were so many visions given in the beginning. Baba showed so much splendor. You used to be shown wearing crowns, etc. You cannot find those things here. Baba was a jewel merchant. Jewels that used to cost 50,000 in earlier days cannot be bought for even 5 million today. You are making effort for heaven. There is limitless happiness there. The Father teaches you so much, but there is still the difference of day and night between you children. There is a vast difference between the kings and queens and the maids and servants. Those who study well and teach others cannot remain hidden. They would instantly say, Baba, I am going to go to such and such a place to do service. There is a lot of service to be alone. There is a lot of service to be done. You have to change this jungle into a temple. Whether you have eaten a piece of bread or not, just run and do service. This is what businessmen do. When a good customer comes, they run. Whether they have finished eating or not, they have an interest in earning money. Here you receive limitless wealth from the Unlimited Father. Even though there is still a little time, there is no guarantee about anything because you might leave your body tomorrow. Destruction has to take place. It is of you that it is said, death for the prey and happiness for the hunter. There is no limit to your happiness. You should have limitless happiness. You have to benefit many others. At the end, you will reach your Karmatit stage. By having remembrance, you will suddenly fly when you become bodiless. This requires a lot of effort. Some do a lot of service. They stand all day long at the museum explaining. They remain engaged in doing service day and night. Hundreds of museums will open, hundreds of thousands of people will come, and you won't even have time. You will have the maximum number of shops of these imperishable jewels of knowledge. Acha, to the sweetest beloved long lost and now found children, love, remembrance, and good morning from the mother, the father Bap Dada. The spiritual father says namaste to the spiritual children, and the spiritual children say namaste to the spiritual father. Essence for dharana number 1. In order to imbibe knowledge, first of all make your intellect golden aged. Have no attachment to anything except remembrance of the Father. Second, in order to attain the karmatit stage and return home, practice being bodiless. Examine your behavior to see that you do not cause sorrow for anyone. Have I become as sweet as the Father? Blessing, may you be constantly victorious by imbibing the power of tolerance and having the truth. People of the world say that it is difficult for honest people to live in this world, that they have to tell lies. Many Brahmin souls also think that they sometimes have to conduct themselves with deviousness. However, you saw Father Brahma. He had to face so much opposition for the truth and purity. But he was not afraid. For the truth, you need to have the power of tolerance. You have to tolerate everything. You have to bow down. You have to accept defeat. But that is not defeat. It is victory for all time. Slogan, to be happy and make others happy is to give blessings and receive blessings. Slogan, to be happy and make others happy is to give blessings and receive blessings. Om Shanti. With avyakt silence, experience the double light angelic stage. Mine is one Baba. Everything else of mine is merged in this one mine. The power of concentration will easily enable you to experience the avyakt angelic stage. Let your mind concentrate on what you want, however you want, and for however long you want. This is known as having your mind under your control. With this concentration, that is, with this stable and constant state of sweet silence, you will easily experience the double light angelic stage. Om Shanti.